Some crazy misogynist engineered The View, because there's nothing worse than The View. In terms of, like, there are so many brilliant women out there. None of them are on The View.
Words matter, and mine are no exception. I regret my comments, as I said, and I stand corrected.
This is the most important part. This is right after she was saying, we are run by ABC News. You should trust us, not Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. So she...
Hey, love, it's your girl, Jessica. The first ripple of trouble came as a whisper, barely noticeable against the usual noise surrounding daytime talk shows. But it grew so fast and furious that even longtime viewers were left stunned. Out of nowhere, legal battles erupted around a program once seen as harmless banter among co-hosts. At first, no one believed the rumors. Yet here we are, witnessing what might be the most spectacular downfall in daytime television. Lawsuits, network panic, and shattered reputations have merged into one gigantic...
People want us divided, and they aren't just here in this country. They're foreign adversaries who are infiltrating our social media because it is prudent for us to stay that way.
You're seeing this, not just waste. You could call it waste, but it's deeper. It's deeper than waste. It's corruption. And you're seeing that corruption get weeded out. I am hoping that this is successful and that it yields a benefit to the American people, to the working class people, to everybody, where they recognize, like, hey, we can't just be spending all our tax money on nonsense.
Debacle. Some people call it a case of cancel culture run amok. Others say it's the ultimate payback for years of brazen commentary. Whichever side you choose, there's no denying this has become a television catastrophe unlike anything we've seen before. They used to open each show laughing and shouting opinions at one another, rarely worried about the consequences of what they said on air. Strong statements got them attention, and attention boosted ratings. But that carefree approach turned lethal once they started aiming bold accusations at people with the resources and the will to fight back. What began as quick-witted banter has snowballed into an all-out legal slugfest so massive that even their most loyal fans are questioning how the show can recover. If you've been anywhere near social media lately, you've probably seen the headlines. Over 30 defamation lawsuits. A high-profile suspension. Major advertisers backing away. It feels like a drama scripted for Hollywood, except this time it's terrifyingly real. So how did a program once hailed for amplifying women's voices manage to spark such monumental chaos? And more importantly, can any of the long-standing co-hosts come out the other side unscathed? Grab a seat, because the story behind these lawsuits and the show's spectacular descent is far more dramatic and personal than most realize. For years, viewers tuned in to see lively debates on politics, celebrity news, and social issues. The show carved its niche by blending lighthearted morning chatter with starkly opinionated rants. One day, the hosts might discuss the latest red carpet mishaps. The next, they'd tackle hardcore political controversies. Critics either loved the boldness or loathed the divisiveness. But either way, it worked, ratings soared, and the show became a daytime institution. Behind the scenes, though, a pattern was emerging. Certain co-hosts, especially the more outspoken ones, grew comfortable tossing out shocking claims about public figures. Often, they spoke confidently without citing any proof, trusting that viewers would accept their words at face value, or at least appreciate the entertainment value. It's not that they never got in trouble. There were boycotts, sponsor pullouts, and angry phone calls, but the show's producers had become adept at damage control. Apologies here, a clarifying statement there, and the headlines would usually fade. Still, it's one thing to spur debate by criticizing a politician.
Of our country, how do you love your country and support and normalize somebody who was a convicted felon who really wants to destroy the country, in my opinion?
Politician's stance or a celeb's wardrobe. It's another to make allegations that can destroy reputations. Over time, the lines blurred, and the hosts seemed to forget that reckless commentary doesn't just vanish after the commercial break. The more they went after big names, the bigger the risk grew. As tension built, there was a sense that something explosive was bound to happen. No one knew exactly when, but the writing was on the wall. When the first lawsuit arrived, insiders treated it like any other legal threat. will settle quickly.
But she's set to perform at the upcoming inauguration. She said in a statement that she's doing it because the country must come together in the spirit of unity and look to the future. And lots of her fans aren't thrilled about it, but lots of her fans are.
Issue a statement and move on, they thought. But days later, 2 more arrived. Then 5. Then 10. Suddenly, it was clear this wasn't just another bump in the road. Over 30 defamation lawsuits hit the desk in the span of a few months, each one brimming with allegations of reckless, unverified claims made by the show's hosts. It wasn't just public criticism anymore. These were legitimate legal challenges backed by big-name attorneys. Behind closed doors, ABC's legal department went into emergency mode. Defamation suits can be hard to win, but they become far riskier when there's broadcast footage of hosts confidently spewing accusations that might have zero factual basis. 1 or 2 remarks can sometimes be explained away. Yet repeated statements, especially the kind that appear malicious or intentionally harmful, are more—
You know, when you're a certain age, you use words that you know from when you were a kid or you remember saying, and that's what I did today, and I shouldn't have. I should have thought about it a little longer before I said it, but I didn't. And I should have said cheated, and I used another word, and I'm really, really sorry.
More difficult to defend. Almost overnight, crisis meetings piled up, and hush-hush phone calls with expensive lawyers replaced the usual behind-the-scenes banter. The fear wasn't just about losing a lawsuit or 2. It was about hemorrhaging money on a scale that could cripple the network. Some suits demanded millions in damages, and the cost of fighting them all in court would be astronomical. The show's brand was in freefall, and for the first time, higher-ups at ABC faced the possibility that axing the program might be cheaper than paying out endless legal fees. By the time these suits reached the media, the damage was done. Headlines screamed about the show's toxic environment. Public figures came forward sharing their own grievances, and social media lit up with demands for accountability. Those previously written off as haters suddenly had a point.
His full access to the U.S. Treasury federal payment system, and Democrats are ringing the alarm bell.
Elon Musk invested, almost $300 million that we know of on the Donald Trump campaign. Yesterday, Senator Klobuchar made a joke. She said, what's the difference between Donald Trump and Greenland? Greenland isn't for sale.
Maybe the show's hosts really had taken things too far. In any debacle of this magnitude, there's usually a lightning rod, a figure so central to the drama that everyone looks to them for answers. For this show, that person is undoubtedly Whoopi Goldberg. Over the years, she became known for her no-filter approach, never shying away from controversial statements. Sometimes, that fearless style earned her praise. People admired her willingness to speak from the heart. But it also transformed her into a magnet for backlash, especially when she targeted high-profile individuals. According to insiders, she's furious about the situation, insisting that the mounting lawsuits are simply evidence of cancel culture run wild. She reportedly feels betrayed by people she once considered allies, believing they abandoned her the moment the show's reputation turned toxic. While other hosts scramble to shield themselves from blame, Whoopi has taken a more combative stance, allegedly ready to fight every lawsuit tooth and nail. Yet critics say this might be the ultimate example of karma. They point out that, for years, Whoopi led the charge in throwing out accusations at public figures who had fewer platforms to defend themselves. Now the tables have turned. The very same outspokenness that made her a star might be what ends—
I'm looking. I was two tables away from Trump, and I'm looking. I'm like, man, this is too much.
her career in daytime television. Whether you see her as a truth teller or a troublemaker, there's no denying that Whoopi Goldberg is at the center of this legal and public relations nightmare. As if multiple lawsuits from random public figures weren't enough, some of the most influential names in America have stepped into the ring. Perhaps the most startling pair to see on the same side is Elon Musk, and both men have endured relentless jabs from the show, often brushed off as comedic commentary. But these two heavyweight personalities don't exactly shy away from a good fight, especially when they see a chance to push back against what they consider mainstream media bias. Elon Musk, known for his Twitter feuds and larger-than-life projects, is rumored to have already won a hefty judgment in an earlier case involving one of the co-hosts. Buoyed by that success, he's filing additional suits that claim repeated defamation across numerous episodes. For him, this battle isn't just personal. It's about sending a message that massive platforms can't spread disinformation without consequences. On the other hand, has been a frequent punching bag for the panel. They openly ridiculed his policies and personality, which rarely ended with formal apologies. He's reportedly been gathering receipts for years, storing clips and transcripts that might prove the hosts knowingly made false or harmful statements. Now, his legal team is ready to unleash a meticulously organized offensive, and insiders say it could cost the show millions more. And then there's Carrie Underwood. Initially, people assumed she wouldn't get involved in political drama, given her carefully maintained image and devotion to her country music fanbase. But after Joy Behar made pointed remarks suggesting Underwood was betraying her values by aligning with certain political figures, everything changed. The singer is suing for damages, alleging those on-air comments led to lost endorsements and emotional harm. Even Joe Rogan, the podcast giant, has joined the fray. Known for speaking his mind without fear, Rogan took serious offense to being labeled dangerous by certain hosts on the show. Rather than lash out on social media alone, he's backing it up with a massive legal complaint. With that many influential figures lining up lawyers, the result is a legal siege like no other, one that might finally topple the daytime Goliath. Under mounting pressure, ABC tried to do what it's always done: release carefully crafted statements, offer mild apologies, and insist that people misunderstood the context. Yet the situation this time was too dire. Lawsuits of this magnitude don't vanish after a quick PR patch-up. Major corporations took notice. Sponsors began to question whether supporting the show was worth the backlash. One by one, ad contracts were pulled or quietly left to expire. The once steady revenue stream dried up, leaving the network with a difficult choice. Executives huddled to explore every possible solution. Some hoped to overhaul the format, maybe change the panel, shift the tone, or impose tighter editorial control. Others felt that no matter what they did, the lawsuits and negative press would continue haunting them. In the end, the most brutal option won out, suspending the program indefinitely to cut losses and stem the bleeding. It was a staggering moment. After so many years in production, a once powerful fixture of daytime television was effectively shut down. For ABC, it was a matter of survival. The show had become an unmanageable liability, and continuing to air it meant risking more defamation claims and further damage to the network's reputation. Some insiders say a cancellation announcement is merely a formality away from being official. Others whisper about the possibility of a rebrand, but with lawsuits still pending, it's hard to see how the same concept could be salvaged. So here we stand, watching a daytime juggernaut crumble under the weight of its own commentary. Some see this as a prime example of justice, proof that no one can hurl accusations indefinitely without eventually facing consequences. Others feel uneasy, calling this a witch hunt or blaming cancel culture for creating an environment where open dialogue is no longer possible. In reality, the truth is likely more complicated. The show's downfall might be the result of a reckless approach combined with powerful enemies who finally decided enough was enough. Will the show ever return? It's hard to see how, at least in its current form. With major defamation suits looming, the financial toll could be insurmountable. There's also the matter of public trust. Can audiences ever look at the panel the same way, knowing that their off-the-cuff remarks triggered a crisis of this scale? And what about the co-hosts themselves? Some might attempt solo ventures or sign deals elsewhere, but the shadow of this debacle will likely follow them for years to come. In the end, maybe the story is a cautionary tale about the power of words. When you're on a national stage, every statement carries weight. If you start throwing out claims without evidence, especially about people who won't hesitate to lawyer up, you'd better brace yourself for the blowback. Whether you see this as overdue accountability or just another instance of the system crushing free speech, one thing is certain: this controversy has forever changed the landscape of daytime TV. What do you think? Is the indefinite suspension and the avalanche of lawsuits just desserts for a show that went too far? Or is it a troubling sign that powerful figures can silence commentary they don't like? Let me know your thoughts. And if you found this story eye-opening, consider sticking around. There's more to uncover, and the next bombshell might be just around the corner. Until then, remember, in a world where words can spark million-dollar lawsuits, everyone is one careless statement away from catastrophe. Go ahead and pull your mouse out, scroll all the way down, and click like and subscribe to get my latest tea that will keep your mouth watery. Craving for more and looking forward to the next sip with me, your favorite host, Jessica. Cheers, love.